This is a spoiler-free review for Professor Puzzle's Escape from the Lost Temple. This is a mini at-home escape room game. As we look at the box here, we can see that it is said to be for ages 12 plus for one or more players, and the time is 1 hour plus. So we've played a couple of these Professor Puzzle escape room games. The setup in all the ones we've played so far has seemed to be the same. I will do a quick unboxing, I will keep it spoiler free, and then I will talk through our experience of playing the game, and hopefully by the end of this video you will have some idea of whether you think this game is one that you would like to add to your collection. So when you open the box, as with all of the Professor Puzzle games, there is a series of cards which make up the bulk of the puzzles of the game, and then you get some other documents that will give very clear instructions on when they're to be used. You also get this introduction. So you're on an expedition in a rainforest in South America under the guidance of Dr. Idaho Bones. Upon your arrival 3 weeks ago, one of Dr. Bones' associates in the museum tipped you off about a fabled golden skull located inside the temple, and the rest of the puzzles lead you to uncovering the golden skull. So we would have found that there was some, I don't want to say repetition, but they use some of the puzzles, the style of puzzles in these games, in this particular one, that they've used in previous ones. And I think when you are using, one of the things about these games is that because it's completely offline, you have the solutions card, and so they work within a very set kind of structure in terms of the puzzle types that you engage with. So there's some word play puzzles, there's some logic number puzzles working out what the next sequence of numbers is going to be. They also have some puzzles that you would work your way through. I suppose this isn't really a spoiler if we're looking at the back of the box, but you can see there's mazes, wordplay, and then there is the location of items throughout the other pieces of the puzzle. There is one thing that I liked about this one, in that when we played the museum, the Night in the Museum version of the Professor Puzzle games, it was possible towards the end of that to figure out the solution without having figured out all of the cards. And they seem to have found a way to fix that with this particular one. So that's actually probably quite a good upgrade that they've made, in that you need to be able to solve all of the solutions to the puzzles to be able to figure out what's going on at the end of the game. In terms of replayability, if you use a pencil lightly, or you get yourself some dry wipe plastic sheets that you could put over the puzzles as you're working through them, it's very possible to complete all of the puzzles within this game and then hand it over to somebody else to play, and they will be able to get all the exact same types of aha moments that you would have got when you were playing it first. So that's what we were able to do. We filled in everything lightly in pencil, could rub it all out at the end, and then we could pass it on to somebody else to play. Having said that, we were able to pick the game up for £6 or £7, I think. So maybe you might not necessarily feel that you'd want to reuse a puzzle that costs that much, but for us, we just don't like throwing things in the bin if they can be used in any sort of a way again. So from that point of view, this game is something that is replayable, as long as you're careful enough with how you mark the items on your way through. In terms of final thoughts and an overall rating, this was, I suppose, just a standard enough entry. It didn't do anything too spectacular. A couple of tricky puzzles that meant we needed to, work things out a little bit more. So in terms of way to pass an hour, it took us about 1 hour and 10 minutes, I think, to complete the whole thing. 2 of us were playing. One thing I suppose, I don't want to say it's maybe a criticism, but that with the setup of the game, as like I had highlighted here earlier on, like you can see that each of the games, or each of the puzzles, comes in terms of these cards that are shown on the back of the box there. And so while I'm working on one card and Valerie is working on a second card, you might get to a position where there are some puzzles you might not get to do, maybe that's less of a thing that people are concerned about, and people just want to play it and make their way through and just get to a point where they've completed the puzzle together. But if you're somebody who is a bit of a completionist and you want to feel like you did everything in the game or had a hand in everything in the game, if people are splitting the puzzles between themselves, I did 6 or 7, Valerie did the other 6 or 7. And so we got to a point where at the end of the game, there were certain puzzles I hadn't worked on and certain puzzles Valerie didn't work on. That didn't really bother us, but ultimately it might be something that you might think might bother you. So overall, 3 out of 5, like an enjoyable way to spend an hour if you're into puzzles and you just want something to hold you over until you get to your next bigger box or game that you've been saving for yourself. If you have any questions, ask below in the comments and I will do my best to answer them without giving any spoilers. And with that said, we'll see you all in the next one.